Hello everybody, welcome back to the stream. Good to see you all, good to see you. All right, so we're gonna be doing some art updates again today. There are a number of places that I still want to update. And for context, what we're doing is we're updating all the clickable elements in the game to have a brighter color scheme. So that way, to solve a couple of problems. We're gonna try to solve the problem of people saying the game is too dark by brightening up a lot of the elements. But we're also going to try to be using a consistent visual language for all the things that are clickable. And so those two things will hopefully be solved by changing and updating some of this art. And I've been doing art updates along with that along the way too. So anyway, before I get into it, I want to remind everyone that Alchemortis is available for wishlisting. It's a dark fantasy roguelite auto battler where you can create your own builds and synergies with the alchemy system. So if that sounds interesting to you, definitely check it out. You can also support me and the game. Oh, I don't want to print this. Please wait for... I'm not trying to print that. Why? I don't want to print my Patreon page. So yeah, you could support me in the development of the game by going on Patreon and subscribing at one of these tiers. This top tier here, if you subscribe for 1 month, has a couple of nice perks. First and foremost, I will send you an Alchemortis Steam key when the game launches. So if you support early with this $15 a month tier for at least 1 month, that is basically a pre-purchase of Alchemortis. So if you know you want to buy Alchemortis, you can support me before it launches, and then you will get a copy for free when the game launches. And your name will be included in the in-game Alchemortis credits as being a sponsor of the development. So yeah, a couple of interesting perks for you there. Also, I have the Udemy courses. These teach you how to build complete games in the Godot engine. I've got several courses, so check them out. They're all linked below. See which one you're interested in. Every purchase of a course helps me out a ton as well. But there's also the Discord. You could also support by liking the channel, liking the video, subscribing to the channel, following on Twitch, all of that good stuff. So. And I should mention again, for those of you on YouTube, I am streaming to Twitch simultaneously, so if you prefer the Twitch experience, you can head over to twitch.tv/firebelly, and vice versa. If you're on Twitch and you prefer the YouTube live experience, then I'm streaming on YouTube as well. Anyway, let's get right into it. Hello, Nathan. Welcome back. Time to make some coffee and watch some Firebelly. Yes, indeed. Hello, Fridex. Welcome, welcome. All right, so let me show you a couple of the things that I did. I think we ended on the booster last time, so I updated the obelisk art here. So I just made the brazier here a little bit lighter. What else? Reagent, same deal. The reagent here is a little bit brighter. And I think the big one, though, is I redid the anvil for the card upgrade. So there's a new hammer, there's a new anvil, and there's new ore. So I redrew all of these things for that event type. So everything's brighter. The anvil looks more anvil-y, I think. And I think the hammer looks nicer as well, and the ore certainly looks nicer. So yeah, redrew all those things last night. And I'll show you, I can show you what it looks like in game. I don't want to save those changes. What was the last thing I did? Oh, I updated the shop as well, which that's going to be easier to show in game actually. So let's just go ahead and take a look at this. So I'll show you the anvil first. I am getting a little bit tired of drawing anvils because they're hard to draw for some reason. But anyway, so we go to the card upgrade here. And there's the new anvil, nice and bright, so it indicates that it's a clickable element. Oh, I just realized we're going to need to update the alchemy pot too to be brighter because this is a clickable element as well. All right, we're going to have to do that. We're going to have to update this one as well. We have to update this one. We got to update these tabs here. Okay, we have a lot of work to do, but that's okay. So there's the new anvil, and then I can upgrade this. There's the new ore, and then the hammer smacks down and you get the upgrade. So that's it for that one. Let's look at the shop. Hello, the malicious rabbit. Welcome back. Good to see you. All right, so here's the shop. The shop looks basically the same. I brightened up these price plaques here just to indicate that those are clickable. And then I also updated the exit sign a little bit here. Made it a little bit more detailed and obviously increased the amount of colors there, brightened it up generally speaking. So I do think I like this. I mean, I like how clear everything stands out now. How clearly everything stands out, I should say. I think it's good. So yeah, we will just continue on with this. Basically everything that's clickable needs to use that kind of warmer color palette. And that includes this alchemy pot. So that is going to be a little bit of a pain to do, I think. This pot art has not changed basically at all I mean, basically since the beginning of development. I think this is one of the first major pieces of art that I drew. So it's going to feel a little bit weird having to go in and change it, but that's what we got to do, I suppose. Anyway, and what else? I'm trying to think, are there any other events that I did not do yet? Let's see. We did enchant on stream. Oh, grow board. I need to do the grow board event too. Max health, card upgrade. I did the max health. Oh, I don't think I showed everyone what the max. I think I kind of stopped in the middle of the max health one. So let's go see what that does. Hello, Snupbill. Welcome back with the message yummers. Very much appreciate that always. Yummers, love seeing the yummers. Is there a pragmatic way of brightening the sprites, or is that over engineering? I mean, you could pretty simply just go in and just like brighten up all the colors, but the problem is because I'm adding another color or two to the colors that I can use for those, just brightening up all the colors makes it look too flat. So I actually need to go in and like add detail with the other colors that I have available to me. So it's not as simple as like just running an algorithm to just batch update all the colors. I actually need to go in and like hand tune the shading and whatnot. So there's our new health upgrades there. And yeah, I have actually been going in and just like updating art too. So art that looks a little bit weird or a little bit messy, I've been actually just going in and cleaning it, like taking an opportunity to clean a lot of it up too. So yeah, it's, you know, there's not, the answer to that question is no, there's not a pragmatic way of doing it. It just has to be done by hand. But anyway, we need to update the grow board. I don't know how this is going to look, but we'll see. We did the artifact. We did reagent. I did the obelisk. I think the grow board is the last one to do. So let's go ahead and see. Is it this one? Okay. Okay. So we're just gonna have to do these one at a time, I guess. All right. Brighten that up. We'll do the same for south. Do the same for west. Do this. So there is like a tool in Aseprite for brightening it up. But do you see how it looks flat now? So now I need to reintroduce, for example, on east here, I need to reintroduce the dark color now in the spots that are supposed to be dark. So this is going to be, yeah, this is going to be the bulk of the effort here, I think. So yeah, we're just going to go ahead and see what I can do here. And unfortunately, I have to do this individually for each one of these directions because the light is kind of generally coming from the top right here. So it's not as simple as like, oh, just shading this one and then rotating it, right? Because then the lighting would be all wrong. So I actually have to do the shading on each section. Even though the pattern is the same on each section, the lighting is different. So yeah. And I don't really know what a good way of doing this lighting is, so we're just going to try our best. So this is going to be kind of a lot of effort, I guess. But we do it for the love of the game. I don't need so much darker details there. Do this. Yeah, I mean, that might be okay, actually. And then what I can do now is I can actually sprinkle in some of these brighter colors. Just sprinkle them, you know? And there we go. I might just do another one here. So yeah, generally something like that. It doesn't need to be perfect. And then maybe some shading down here. Yeah, it's fine. But we have to do this for every single one now. Actually, I'm realizing that I probably want that as well. Okay. Now we can do... Yep, that'll probably work. Oh boy, we gotta do this for every single one. And actually, I think I need to do... something like that. This looks just a little bit flat up here. So maybe I just... Yeah, that's fine. This here is a little bit weird, I would say. Yeah, something like this. Perfect. Okay. We can call that one done, I suppose. As I continue to update it. Okay. Hello, B-Tooly. Good morning. This is Asebright. But welcome to the stream. Hello, Helen. I really love your stream and enjoy being a part of your fan community. Would you mind adding me up on Discord? My username is itsmoney02. So I'm not... This is nothing personal, but I'm not accepting friend requests from basically anyone. I'm keeping my Discord friends list to my actual, like, real-life friends. If you want to communicate with me, you can do so just in one of the Discord channels. Or you can send me an email at admin@firebelly.com. But I am not... Yeah. Discord is too noisy for me, so I need to just keep it locked down to just the people that I actually know IRL. And then, you know, I don't want to discourage you from asking questions or anything, but Discord is not the medium to do so. So yeah, you can send me an email if you want, or you could just put a question in one of the public Discord, the public, one of those Discord channels. Hello, Monkey Software. Welcome back. You're getting good at shading with each spriting. I'm a bit jealous. Thank you, Snupbill. Thank you. Looks great. Why are you changing it? So we're just brightening up the art. So previously... Let's see if I can go to the grow board container. So this is what the art looked like before. This very dark art. And yeah, the problem there is that, yeah, it's just a little bit too dark. So I'm brightening up all of the clickable elements, the interactable elements, to make it clearer what is clickable, and also to just brighten up the game a little bit. That looks way better. Awesome. I'm glad you like that. Yeah. So we got to do this. Chances are I might have to catch up with you. Yeah, true. Wish you the best of luck. I hope you find success in this game. Thank you, Dale Dev. Appreciate that. I hope so too, but we'll see. We'll see. Hardcore Terraria has been breaking me. Yeah. I think the people who play like hardcore Terraria, Minecraft, those kind of games, that's almost too hardcore for me. Oh wait, is hard? I forgot how Terraria works. Like there's hard mode, but hardcore. Hardcore is like if you die, it's just like permanent death, right? Or is it something different in Terraria? So we'll get all of the... We'll get all these darker parts filled in, I suppose. Get all the darker parts filled in first, and then we'll figure out what to do with all the highlights and stuff. I think the dark parts are the most important things to get down. Here, do something like this. Okay. Just trying to look at the preview here and figure out what just looks a little bit flat, and then go from there. I think we're basically good with this. Yeah, I would say that's probably all right. And then we got to go through, well, is it all right? Maybe I need a couple of more things here. Yeah, that's decent. That's decent. So now I need to go through and just update a lot of this highlighting here. So we'll do that. Just make the orange highlights here a little bit more prominent. And then we'll sprinkle in some white pixels where appropriate. Okay, I think we're basically looking good here. So now we'll take the white and we'll just slap that in the places where there's a high concentration of those orange pixels. So that's just generally kind of a good rule of thumb, I think, is like when you have a very bright, like hot spot where the lighting is, just stepping up the colors gradually. So like this section here, right? We've got the red, which is kind of like part of the highlight here, right? And then we've got a big clump of orange pixels. So just putting like another brighter singular pixel in the middle of that, I think that kind of like really emphasizes the fact that that's like a part where a lot of light is hitting. And of course the thing is not to go overboard with it either, right? Because you're gonna just, if I just started sprinkling white pixels everywhere, it would just look kind of noisy. So got to be a little bit careful with how those are placed. That's what I've learned anyway, just during the process of making Alchemortis art. And then here, we can even do something like this where we do something, yeah, like that, and then we go bam. Yeah, that works. Of course, you know, I'm sure there's something I could be doing better here, but I think we're good. I think we're good. So we'll call that south done now. Oh, jeepers, we have to do 2 more. Oh. Gosh. Anyway, same as hardcore Minecraft. Long time no see. Hello, Julio. Welcome back. Art is looking sharp. Keep it up. Thank you. Welcome back to the stream. Hello, Artem. Good to see you. Just got an ad for Clorox wet dryer sheets where the ad was someone pretending they were a streamer talking to chat. I hate how marketing teams are trying to relate to us so much. L capitalism. Let me tell you, the number of times that I've bought a product because I saw an ad for it is probably like my personal ad conversion rate is probably like 0.01%. So I'm like sitting here wondering like who's buying these things? Like if I go to the store and I need laundry detergent, I'm not going to go, oh, I'm going to buy Tide because, well, maybe I would buy Tide because it was kind of funny, the Tide Pod eating meme. But, like, I'm not going to go to the store and go, oh, I saw a really good ad for Tide, so I'm going to buy that one. It's like, it's laundry detergent, you know? It's like, I'm just going to buy whatever one's probably the cheapest, you know? I can't even think of like when was the last time I bought something because of an ad. Usually like when I need something, I'll go and like research it on the internet and like see what actual people are recommending. But I think that's been a little bit soiled too because the marketers have caught on to that fact, and so they'll just like astroturf a bunch of fake Reddit posts and whatnot. But it's like, yeah, if everyone had my spending habits, there would be no such thing as ads because they wouldn't work at all. But not everyone has my spending habits, so there you go. So there you go. I'm going to go solo, so I've been finishing 1500 plus frames animation right now. Oh my goodness. Well, good luck with that, Snup Bill, and thanks for joining. Also, you haven't turned on the donation just to mention to you yet. Yeah, I had to change all my like ad payout settings and whatnot, and apparently like YouTube just disables your monetization while that whole process is happening, so. But it should be back hopefully soon. But thank you again for mentioning that. Hello, TK. You could always take a quick break to do something else on your to-do list and come back to finishing up the rest of this. Yeah, but I think, you know, we're almost there. It's just this and like a handful of other things, I hope. I guess we'll figure that out. But I really do think that there's not a whole lot of art left to do. I did all the hard ones already. So I'm hoping that that's... People are blowing up my phone. Sorry, people. I am streaming. Did I finish with my I don't think I've finished with the... trying to do the darker shadows first. And then I can come in and do the other stuff, the highlights and whatnot. This one is a little bit weird. I don't know what's going on here. I might, yeah, maybe something like that. I don't know. That actually kind of looks all right in the preview, at least. What else? Could do that. May actually be a good idea to bring this up. Yeah, bring that highlight up like this and kind of trace along. I think that makes it look a little bit nicer, maybe. Yeah, and then thicken this one up here. Maybe that's too much. I don't know, something like that. I may actually, you know what I might do? I might thicken this line up here. Yeah, I like that better. Okay, cool. Okay, and I'm seeing a flat part here, so let's just get that a little bit fixed there. Maybe... I think that's probably okay. And then down here is another part. And then maybe just some there. I think this whole thing should probably be highlighted. Yeah. That should be highlighted, and maybe those. That should be highlighted. This should be darkened. Highlight that one. Probably darken that a little bit. Okay. All right, I think we're almost done with this part now. So now we do the same thing. We will identify hot spots and just place those white pixels. This should be like very thick here, I think. Yeah. Then we can go ahead and slap some white pixels there. Put that one there. Put one there. That might actually be okay. Maybe one there. And then up here, I mean, there's some opportunity up here too. Oops. And then maybe some of these are not super bright, so we'll just brighten that up. And then maybe there. Where else are we looking at here? One there. Okay, that's probably fine. That's probably fine. All right, we got one more to do. Whoops. One more to do. I am going to commit this, though. Meal ads always get me. Yeah. I'm very, very close to buying the big arch from McDonald's, but maybe that's the only effective ad. The amount of bots and Reddit threads is unfortunate. Ran into that looking for an automatic feeder for my cat yesterday. Yeah. One of the weirdest things to advertise is perfumes. If you look at the advertisement, it's trying to sell you a smell without us actually being able to smell it at that moment. Yeah. I don't get it. I don't know. I don't know who the advertising is for. What about the lure of double quarter pounder cheese by McDonald's? Yeah, well, they don't advertise that, though, I don't think. I mean, I don't think McDonald's advertises like their long-term staples. Like whenever I see a McDonald's ad, it's always like, oh, the prime rib is back or whatever. Or what is it called? The McRib. The McRib is back. Or there's this new dessert for a limited time. Or like, hey, this massive Avengers movie is coming out. Come and get your Iron Man shaped fries or whatever. Hello, Pixel Edit. Hello, Jackie Daytona. Welcome back. Anyway, I'm going to commit this. Work on grow board art updates. Okay, we have one more to do. We're almost done. We're almost done. Now, the question is, I don't know. Let's see, grow board west. Is this just west? Can I just, I hope I can do this. Can I just do scripts, export layers? It's kind of annoying. I wasn't very consistent with my process. Some Asprite files, I can just run this export layers script and it just works. But then some of the time I didn't do that. And so it's kind of annoying to have to like figure out what I did. This is why process is important. Like if I had been consistent in my process for every single piece of art, I would be able to go through and update this with more ease, but that's okay. So that just fits right in like that. And then we might as well see what it looks like in game before I finish it out. Grow board 5. We're getting there. Oh, yeah, I think that looks pretty good, actually. Yeah. Okay. So we'll just do this last one here. Okay. Alrighty. Okay. I am once again reminding everybody that we are getting there. Okay. I think we're basically there. All right. And then probably up here we want to do some highlighting. Okay. I think we're basically good on adding the shadows. I think, oh, I got to do like in here still, so let's do that. Yeah, this will work, I think. Okay. Okay, I think the shading for this one, the dark, the shadows shading is done. So now we just need to update the highlights. And we should be golden, Pony Boy. Should be golden. I think this highlight needs to be a little bit stronger here. Yeah, that'll work. Then here. That'll probably be fine. Alrighty. I think we're good. I might... Yeah, that's good. Yeah. Okay. Also up here, maybe I'll just thicken this part up a little bit. Yeah, that'll work. All right, time to highlight it up. I think there's an opportunity to do a stronger highlight here. And then maybe up here as well. All right, how are we thinking? How are we feeling about that? Let me just see. We'll just keep it the way it was. All right. Anything else? I feel like this needs to be a little bit stronger up here, this highlight. So we'll do that. Okay. I think we're good. I think we're in good territory here. I don't really have any complaints about that. I guess maybe this part over here. Yeah, that looks a little bit nicer. Okay. Well, it's not perfect, but it will work. Okay. Let's get this one exported. Hello, V. Welcome back. Been busy with work. What did I miss? Just normal development stuff, major features, major reworks. The game is now a tower defense. So what's this? This is the Grow board art, but we're just updating it to be a little bit brighter. Such detail impressive. I like how it feels veiny. Thank you. Handcrafted artisanal pixels. There's no AI here. 100% hand-drawn manually on the finger-breaking labor of clicking the button. Okay. So let's see how this goes. And there we go. There's our new art for the clickables. So yeah, just to reiterate for context, what I'm doing is I'm updating all the clickable elements in the game to have a brighter color scheme, which is going to serve two purposes: to brighten up the game more generally speaking, but also to create a visual language for the things that are clickable. So in addition to getting those little swirly effects around the clickable elements, it will also be the case that anything that's like a brighter color is going to be clickable. So just finishing this, that's the last of the events, I believe. So that's the last of the events. And then there's a bunch of other things to do as well. I think I'm going to have to update the main menu as well, now that I think about it. So all of these buttons are probably going to need to be brightened up as well. So we'll see. But if I turn off my test map now, I go into the game. Let's see. Let me just check something. Stats. Interesting. Anyway, so yeah. So I'm just going to go through like, so we got new booster art. It's all brightened up now because these are clickable elements. What else can I show you? The new enchant art here. So the tentacles have been brightened up as well. I need to fix those. Those are a little bit jittery now for some reason. I need to update the skip event button as well. So here's the card upgrade. I redrew the anvil basically from scratch. So there's the new anvil. And again, it's bright because it's clickable. And there's the new ore. And there we go. The artifacts have also been updated. Add card god mode. So put the god mode in there so I don't die. Take this. Okay. So artifacts have been updated as well. So all the clickable elements again are brighter. So yeah, I've just been going through systematically and updating everything. What else? I could show you the health upgrade too. So there's the new health files, again, brighter. I need to remove the notoriety delay on the move entities. Okay. Let me write that down, actually. Let me write that down. Okay, to do. Remove delay in moving entities when visiting cleared node. Okay. So yeah, it's coming along. How did you implement the line around the element effect? It's awesome. Yeah, so there's so I've been using AI a lot to write shaders because shaders are very hard to do. So what I did is I took an outline shader from godotshaders.com and then I have the AI modify it so that I can provide a progress value where it only outlines a certain section. I mean, I think I understand the math from a general standpoint. It's like you start at the center of the texture and then you take a radius, like a radians value that represents like what the disk of the outline, what part of the outline should be made available or should be rendered. And then what you do is you rotate that chunk. So if you imagine like a slice of pie, right? And you rotate that around and use that as a mask for the outline, then what you essentially get is you just get an outline that looks like it's moving around the thing. So that's basically how I did that. And then there's just a progress value that just gets animated. It just gets animated with that, with a tween. And I probably want to update that. Don't use, well, let's just do this. Use instance uniforms for clickable control outline materials. I learned about instance uniforms recently, and I need to use those more. Hello, Ninja Link. Got it, thanks. I will try to implement. Yeah, for sure. Okay, all right. So what piece of art should we do next? Here's also the reagent, the brightened reagent one. So the nice thing again about brightening all these, all this art is that I have more colors to work with. So previously I had 4 colors to work with for my clickable elements. It was like purple, light purple, red, and black, right? But now what I have is since I'm brightening it, I have 2 additional colors on top of that, which is the orange and white. So I think that's just brightening up the game quite a bit. I'm pretty happy with how it's going so far. So the big elements, like I still need to brighten this up here, brighten this up, and then probably, I mean, I already kind of made these buttons brighter as well. So that's good. But probably the main menu things will need to be updated as well. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that's clickable. I mean, I guess the combat widget here, but I may just keep this muted because these are not clickables that really have, I mean, they change the game speed, but I don't think they're worthy of drawing the player attention to that much. Maybe the auto resolve button should be brightened as well. So yeah, I don't know. I got to figure all that out, but definitely got to figure all that out. But I think it's coming along. I think it's just gradually getting better. So what more could you ask for, right? And again, I think the plan is to do another playtest at the end of this month with all these new changes, so you guys can tell me what you think of them. And what else? Yeah, I think that's it. Anyway, probably want to update this recenter camera button too. Ah, fudge. Okay, there's a lot to do. So the events are done. We're going to do the recenter camera button, auto resolve button, drawer buttons. All right. Hello, Kezer B. Can't wait to see the finished game. Looks too fun. Yeah, I can't wait to get it in your hands, for sure. I'm just hoping that I can get, like, after this next playtest or two, I'm hoping that can solidify the game systems, and then it's just a matter of adding content. I want to get all the major design issues addressed, and then I can just go full steam ahead on content and getting things like controller support in the game, getting the save system built, which is going to be a huge pain. Because again, I want to allow the player to save mid-run so that you can save your run and pick up later. Because if the runs are going to take upwards of an hour, I think it's almost a necessity that you need to be able to save mid-run. So I'm going to try to do that. The save system is not going to be that... It's not going to be that bad. The toughest part is going to be saving the abilities. Saving what abilities are on cards. That's going to be the hardest thing to do. But I think I have a plan for that. I've been mulling it over for a couple of days. It's going to be messy. It's going to require quite a lot of overhauling, but it needs to be done, so we'll figure it out. Anyway, should we take a break from art and do something else? I kind of want to do this one. So maybe I'll work on that one. That's a little bit code heavy, but that's fine. I think I need to, I don't know. I need to start narrowing my scope for the next playtest here. I don't know if some of these things are going to be done for the next playtest, but we'll see. We'll see. We're getting there though. The game is inching ever forward to completion. Anyway, I'm going to take a quick 3-minute break, and when I come back, we're going to work on this card here because I think that's going to be interesting. And yeah. Anyway, give me a 3-minute break, and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Alrighty. So for context, this one that I want to do here. So this is part of the card refactoring that I did to improve the performance here. So the reason why I refactored the card visuals to hook into the rendering server directly is because previously I had a scene that had like 15 nodes in it or something. And it turns out that trying to instantiate a scene with 15 nodes and a bunch of materials 100 plus times in a single frame creates quite a bit of lag, noticeable frame hitching. So this fixed that problem, but in the interest of getting, I think the main piece of overhead there is adding nodes to the tree, in addition to whatever materials needed to be set up and everything. And so the problem with this card rendering server right now is it still has two nodes. It has a root node of type node 2D, but it also has this, where is that? Mouse area. Yeah, it also has this mouse area here, which is a custom class. So this mouse area extends control and it overrides this has point. And this mouse area here, it just gets instantiated in calculate card bounds here. Now it is adding that child in a deferred fashion, which seems to help. But I'm thinking if I just make this card rendering server a control node instead of a node 2D, I can get rid of the need for a separate control node, and control nodes still have like transform data, right? They still have, actually give me 1 second. Sorry about that. So the control nodes still have transform data. So that means that I can still do all the things like animate them and move them around and stuff. So I'm gonna try it and we're gonna see what happens. So we'll start by making this a control node. That's gonna create all kinds of problems. There is no toLocal here, which is a problem as well. So I'm gonna need to do my own toLocal. I think I'm doing that. Where am I doing that? Clickable control. Local point. Global point, get global transform times point. I actually don't know how to do this. Let me see. I'm gonna look it up. Major season transforms, here we go. So I basically need a way of getting a local point. Converting positions. World space vector 100 units below the player. Where is 0, 1? Oh, so we just multiply by the transform. World space. What is the transform here, though? Is this the global transform? Okay, well, world space vector transform. Well, we'll figure it out. So I need to replace the to local because I'm using that in a lot of places. So let's just do private. Where do I want to put this? Private void to local, which is a vector to global position. And then we'll do return get transform times global position. Is that what I do? I don't know, we'll see. This dot create invalid shake tween method. We need to update this. This actually doesn't need to be a node 2D. This can just be a node. So that should fix that. Okay. To global. All right, let's do a to global now. Private vector to global, vector to local position. Is that right? Huh? Get global transform times point. I have no idea if this is going to work, but we'll see. What do you use for task management? I thought I saw Trello last time. It's Obsidian with the Kanban plugin. Matrix math, yeah. I looked away for a meeting. I come back. What are you up to? I'm trying to reduce. So with the card rendering server, the new performance improvements, I'm trying to reduce this down from 2 nodes to 1 node. So this previously was a node 2D, which had a nested control node underneath it for mouse detection. I'm moving it so that it's just a control node at the root. And then that should help quite a bit, I think. But anyway, mouse area. So we're gonna need to move this out. So let's do this. Let's cut that out. We're gonna do private read-only list mouse area rects. Okay. We'll do this wherever set rects is called. We're gonna say mouse area rects. So I actually don't need to do this. I can just do mouse area rects dot clear, mouse area rects dot add. Okay, and then we just need to override this has point method, and we can get rid of this mouse area. Cool. All right. We don't need to do this anymore. Oh, we do need to set the mouse filter to pass. So that needs to be done. We don't need this anymore. Mouse entered, mouse exited. So I guess I don't need to do that here. I can just move this out and put that in the ready method. So that'll work. And then what else? I bought your Survive This Game course. I'm excited to get started. Awesome. Hope you like it. I hope you like it. Update mouse area. Okay. All right, are we good? So now we're gonna have some issues because I think there are other places in the code that expect that to be a node 2D. So we'll just build and we'll see where that's gonna be a problem. Mouse entered hides inherited member, okay. Oh. Mouse entered, mouse exited. Oh, am I gonna have to shoot? I need to know everywhere where this card. Okay. Oh no. These are named the same thing. Well, how do I want to handle this? How do I want to handle this? Maybe I don't need to handle it. Yeah, I guess I don't need this. We'll just do it the old-fashioned way here. And I don't need to emit these signals anymore, or define these signals, because those exist on the control itself. So that should fix that. Okay. Probably after the Vampire Survivors, of course, I will try to remake it in ECS way just to see how I can go with ECS. Yeah, that's a good idea. Man, maybe I do want a custom. Well, let's just do this then. Signal, public delegate void, custom mouse entered, event handler. I guess it will be useful to have these that I connect to here, because then I can introduce some intermediate logic if I want to before emitting those signals. What the heck? Custom mouse exited. Custom mouse entered. Connect to. Is that the only place where I'm connecting to the mouse, the card enter, mouse exit signals? I don't know. Well, let's see if it works. Hopefully it doesn't do anything janky. Like that. I think I'm doing my transforms wrong. Okay, we're gonna have to ask Claude, I'm sorry. To get a local position. I don't understand. Oh, I gotta do this. I hope that wasn't like a... I hope that's not a sensitive piece of information, but oh well. Good luck with game dev. I have backup to rethink my life choices. Okay, sounds good. Thanks for joining, Evan. Get global transform. Wait, to local. Affine inverse. I don't even know what that means, but we'll try that. Hello, Rookie Tookie. Welcome back. Okay, that seems to work now. So now, I mean, I just want to see if that made a difference. Placing cards took 8 milliseconds, 7 milliseconds. So I don't know if that made a huge difference, but it does feel good not to have multiple nodes under that card. So now the card is just a singular node. It's a control node at root. Now let's just make sure that something like the rat works properly. Add card rat. So yeah. So basically what happens is, actually, is this control size being set? I don't think the size is being set correctly. Wait. Am I never setting that size? I should probably set that. Like, I actually don't know how this is working, because if I change this to reference rect here, and then I do in here editor only equals false, what am I going to see? I'm going to see something weird. Yeah, none of those. So the size, I guess it doesn't matter because that has point is overriding it, but I think I probably do want to do calculate card bounds here. Custom minimum size is equal to full size, and size is equal to full size. Okay, there we go. So now that rectangle is bounding the card. I guess it didn't really make a difference because it was still working, but that's okay. So you can see how the rat, it has a bounding box that extends like around it. But because I'm adding individual rectangular areas to check for each cell, even though my mouse is technically inside of the control here, it does not register as the mouse, as the control having that point. So that's very, very useful. So if you have oddly shaped control areas that need to handle mouse events, you can override this has point method on the control. And this point will always be in local coordinates. So, and then you can write your own logic for whether the control actually has that point. So this is very useful. For instance, I'm using like polygonal clickable areas. And the way I was approaching that previously was very janky. But now with the polygonal clickable area, as I have with my clickable control, what I can do is I could just check whether this point coming in here is inside of the polygon using this geometry 2D. And that all happens as part of like the control input handling. So you don't have to do any weird stuff about making sure that other inputs aren't firing or being handled or whatever. So that's very, very useful. And I wish I had known that earlier, but that's all right. We know it now. That's the important thing. So anyway, yeah, so these card nodes now are down to a singular root node. And that should help at least a little bit with performance. But let's get rid of the reference rect now and just put this back to control. And then we'll get rid of the editor only here. And we'll go ahead and go now. Think about using C# on my game. I'm used to GDScript, but C# seems interesting. Does it work well like GDScript? Yeah, it works fine. I mean, the only thing that you're going to have issues with is web exports, but everything else is fine. Like C# has been supported in Godot fully for many, many, many versions now, and it keeps getting better. They keep making improvements to it as well. But then like you can do stuff like what I've done is I've created that Godot utilities library, which you can also include if you like to. This Godot utilities library just adds some extra like source generators and utilities for you to use in your C# projects. So that's what I use for all my projects. And yeah, anyway, that's on my GitHub if you want to pull it in. It's also on NuGet. Good morning, cruel world, and all who inhabit it. Good morning, Courier Games. Good to see you. You're welcome. I hope it helps. All right, I think this is feeling pretty good, actually. And it only takes 8 milliseconds to spawn all of those cards. And we can actually do another test with this where I go to my unlock menu, show all cards. I can do all IDs here. And that will put all of the cards in the game into that screen. Unlocks. Yeah, so this is all the player cards and enemy cards. And that all happens within 1 frame. So if we look at this, that's 11 milliseconds, 11 milliseconds. So the time is still going up with the number of cards. So I may need to squeeze more out of this eventually. I think I may need to, let me think. Well, we don't need to worry about it right now, but I think the only other solution from here on out, if I need to just remove the node entirely, is I need to have like one node that manages the positions of every card. And so that way I'm not creating a node for each card. I'm just creating the rendering server data. But we don't need to worry about that yet. 12 milliseconds. And this is, by the way, this is with all this logging and stuff too. I don't know how much of a performance impact that has. And this is also in debug build. So it's possible that will go down by a couple of milliseconds as well in a release build. But previously, to generate this screen was like 115 milliseconds. So we've got like a 10x performance improvement here by moving to the rendering server. Anyway. Cool. Big performance increase. Yeah, it is a big performance increase for sure. For sure. Okay, that's done. I think that's done. Maybe I should actually give it a little bit more of a test here and make sure everything's working properly. Seems to be working. Also, for those of you that weren't around yesterday, I did make a bunch of changes to the enemy board generation algorithm as well. So, generally speaking, enemy boards are going to be a little bit more coherent. So I still have a problem here of like enemy effects are rendered behind player board due to node ordering. Let's say that's a bug. Oops. So we're gonna have to resolve that. No, wait a minute. That's the wrong one. This one. Okay. Hello, Hag. Hello, Hag. How rude. So yeah, previously with my enemy board generation, the field mouse was being chosen too many times. And I think I've got that under control now. And enemy boards will generally have better synergies as well. And I also went through all the numbers in the game and I kind of like squashed everything. And that's an attempt to make combat a little bit more deliberate, a little bit slower. What I really want is I want the player to have to create synergies. I want your damage to be pretty low if you're not leveraging synergies. Like the synergy should be where all the scaling comes from. And a lot of the cards were just too strong at base. And so, yeah, I just squashed a bunch of the numbers, made a bunch of numbers smaller. So that should have the effect of, well, I'm hoping it has the effect of both slowing down combat, but also pressuring the player to make use of synergies and to make use of alchemy and whatnot. Like, I don't really want it to be the case that you're throwing just like non-alchemized cards on the board. I mean, obviously there should be a situation where that is appropriate. Like if you just need something that has a tag or whatever. I don't want to make them entirely useless, but I definitely want to incentivize the player to use alchemy and enchants and throw together synergies and all that stuff with the artifacts. Fill up your inventory and test it. Might be weird if there's only a couple of open slots. Yeah, I mean, everything seems to be working. The only major concern I have is like the connecting to that card mouse enter and mouse exit signals. Those are the only things that I'm not like entirely sure about. Apparently you can alchemize or enchant reagents, which is kind of interesting. Oof. Oh, this needs to be updated too. Okay. Okay, anyway. Sure looks like game development. Yes, it is. I really like the little attack animations. I'm glad you liked them. Yeah, I think there's still some work to do there with the visual effects, but I think it does make the combat much more visually interesting for sure. One thing I did to help with my game balance is I had Claude go through my code and create a table of relevant values, made it a lot easier to track everything. Yeah, so I've done that before. Like a couple of months ago, I had one of these AI agents go through my code base and document all of the abilities in the game. And then it put out a markdown file where I could just scroll through and read all of the abilities. And that was really helpful in like knowing what my game has. Of course, that was before I had that card inspection tool where I can do a bunch of filtering. But I'm probably going to do that again in the future just to create a document. I think it's going to be really helpful because I still want to create an encyclopedia for the game, which basically explains all the mechanics. And I think that's where AI can be really helpful, is like, sometimes it's hard for me to remember like exactly how a mechanic works. Like, what's the execution order if X, Y, and Z happens all in one turn, right? But that's the kind of thing where if you ask the AI, it's generally pretty good at following the trail of logic. And so I definitely think I'm going to leverage that for when I want to create the encyclopedia that explains how the game systems work. I mean, it's not like I obviously understand how my game systems work. I'm just talking about like the hyper specific scenarios where like 3 different things are happening. Like, what exactly is the order of operations there? Yeah. What is that? I've asked about this before, but didn't have a good example. I think that's just aliasing, right? So, typically in pixel art games, there's no anti-aliasing, right? So anti-aliasing is just smoothing out the edges. Because fundamentally every game, when it gets rendered to the screen, it's just rendering 1 pixel at a time, and higher resolutions makes it look crisper. But if you don't have anti-aliasing, for example, in a game that's supposed to look more like have more graphical fidelity, you will see those jagged lines, like almost like pixel art. Like, you'll see very jagged lines. And then the anti-aliasing algorithm basically just fills in or changes the colors of pixels along the edges of those jaggies, I guess, to create a smoother visual. But in pixel art games, you don't, if you're going to do anti-aliasing in a pixel art game, typically that's just built into the art itself. Like, you actually do the anti-aliasing by hand, but that doesn't help when you're manipulating the art with like a shader, for example, which is what I'm doing, where I'm shifting over the pixels of the tentacle that are drawn in accordance with a sine wave or something. And so because of the contrast of the colors, now that the tentacles are brighter, it's much easier to notice the aliasing because you can see very clear contrast differences between the background and the other parts of the tentacle and so on and so forth. So I think the only way to fix that is just to reduce the strength of the wave. I mean, we could probably work on that right now, actually, because that is bothering me. So we've got this shader here. So it looks smooth in the editor, and I really wish there was like a way in Godot to render this at like the pixel resolution you're using for the game so you could see it better, but so wave multiplier, if we do 10, so that's probably not going to help, but let's see. I'm just going to have to play with these things, and I think I can, let's see. If I'm not mistaken, I think enchant was, or is it 4? I think it's 4. Bang. Okay, so tentacles come in. Yeah, so that's creating aliasing because of the contrast difference. Like this was present in the old version of the art as well, but the thing is, because the colors were so dark, it was harder to notice. But now that, you know, it's brightened up, especially in the middle here, you can see those bands just going through the art. So unfortunately, I don't know if there's going to be a good way of fixing that. I may have to come up with a different way of doing that animation. Wave amplitude, speed. Maybe a lower multiplier would probably work. Honestly, it looks kind of cool in the tentacles. There are just instances where I experience this effect and don't like it. Thanks for the breakdown, though. Yeah, for sure. So I'm going to have to figure out something else with this, I think. Because that does look a little bit weird now. One thing that might, I mean, that looks better, I suppose. My head is in the way. Let me duck down. That looks better, I suppose. But one thing I could do is, if I look at my patrol flag, let's just put this over here. So if I look at the patrol flag here, this has that aliasing as well, but it looks a little bit more natural because what's happening is that the wave has less effect on the right side of the texture than it does at the end of the texture. So what it looks like is, it looks like the flag is rooted to the pole, but then the part that is not supported by the pole, which is the end of the flag, that has more, the wave has more effect on that end of the texture, right? And so even though that aliasing is present, it looks a lot more natural because it's not so obvious that there's a band going across the entire texture, because its strength is variable based on the UV. And so I think what I could do is I could take that shader and modify it. Yeah, so if I save this as resources shader. Do I already have a tentacle shader? No. It's invalid extension or empty file name. Save. So now if we go here, and instead of that shader, we put the tentacle shader here. I'm going to have to reverse this, though. Let's see. Okay, so I've reversed it. And so now this bottom part of the tentacle is kind of rooted, and the top end of the tentacle is going a lot more. So we could try that and see how that looks. I don't know if that's going to help a whole lot, but let's see. Pretty interesting way to use shaders. Never really used them for basic movement like this. That looks real good, yeah. Now the problem is it's still doing that. It's still got the aliasing, so I don't know if there's going to be a way for me to like really fix that. I can always play around with the numbers a little bit. Yeah, so in this game, I have a I have a rule that I'm not doing frame by frame animation. So the only way that I can actually do the animations is by using animation players, tweens, or shaders. And it looks like those other tentacles are not getting... Oops. There we go. Didn't mean to send you down a rabbit hole. I mean, this was a problem that I wanted to fix anyway. I might as well do it while I'm doing the visual improvements. So I think that looks better, actually. I think maybe if I just make this... So this number creates more waves. And then the wave amplitude is what actually changes the amplitude. So I could do a higher wave amplitude maybe. Still don't think that's going to really work, but if I can at least reduce the effect, that would be nice. Well, we'll see. So actually, I think that does look a little bit better. I think it's moving probably a little bit too fast, though. So we'll just tone that down. I don't think it updates in the game. No frame-by-frame animation is my life too, just sprites and little tricks to make them look animated. Yeah. It is a huge time saver. I'm not really experienced enough as a pixel artist to do frame-by-frame animation, and I'm also not... I don't have the patience for that, you know what I mean? I like to draw the sprites, but if I have to redraw the sprite like 10 different times for a frame-by-frame animation, that's painful. And then when you need to go in and update the sprite, you got to update all 10 frames. So I think I like doing alternate ways of animating things. But how does this look? Does that look better? I mean, there's still some banding and stuff, but I think the effect has been greatly reduced. And actually, I like that tentacle movement better, because it moves more at the top end of the texture and less at the bottom. So it definitely looks more tentacly. I think that looks better. The magic of shaders, solving a lot of headaches. Yes, indeed. I like that idea. I'm no artist, but I like the idea of just using shaders to animate things instead of frame by frame. Yeah, and I have a YouTube short too about how like I animate the characters, which you probably have seen, but like the priestess here, How do I actually do this? I forgot how to do this. So anyway, the priestess here is just cut into a bunch of pieces, you know, and it's the same for the orb here. So these are just cut into a bunch of pieces, and then those pieces are just animated with an animation player. It looks kind of weird in the editor, but when it gets crunched down because of the pixel resolution, it actually ends up looking pretty good. So if I go to the unlocks menu here and I open up characters, so there's the priestess, and then the necromancer is the same way. So all those are just individual sprites that have been cut up and stuck together in the Godot scene tree, and then just animated with animation players, and it's really easy to do. You don't have to draw the sprite multiple times, and if you want to tweak the animation, tweaking keyframes is a lot easier than tweaking like bitmap frames, right? I know a guy who's making a game, very talented animator. His game looks beautiful, and I envy that he can customize it to such a degree, but we all have strengths and weaknesses. Yeah. Yeah, I think, you know, like for every person who's a great artist and can make like a beautiful looking game, you know, the opposite end of that is a guy that's so freaking smart from a technical perspective that they can do something like Noita with like every pixel being simulated. Like somebody who is a very good artist but kind of weak on technical is not going to be able to create a game like Noita, right? And it's the same for games like Dwarf Fortress, right? Like an artist is not going to be able to create a game like Dwarf Fortress. Like that's just not going to be possible for them. So yeah, you just kind of have to lean into your strengths and weaknesses. If your strength is programming, then I think you're capable of creating more systemically or systematically complex games than somebody who's more of an artist, right? Looks good, and most players won't even notice. Is she hopping? Floating, but yeah. They give a great balance of skills, talented coding, and great pixel art. Thank you. Thank you. It took me a long time to get to the place where I feel confident doing pixel art. And programming for that matter, but I've been doing programming for much longer than I've been doing art, so it's like, you know. And I'm still not like the world's best programmer. I just had to ask the AI how to do freaking matrix transforms, you know what I mean? But anyway. What? No. I need to fix that patrol flag. This needs to be... I'm glad I checked that. Quick load. Patrol banner. Okay. Cool. Matrix stuff is hard, bro. Ain't no shame in that. Yeah. I actually took a linear algebra class in college, and we didn't make it past chapter 2 the whole semester, which was kind of interesting. Anyway, let's see what else we can do. What should we do here? I took proof-based linear algebra, only one of the most real-world application forms of math, and we were writing proofs. That's funny. I was just watching 3 Blue 1 Brown's YouTube playlist on linear algebra matrix transforms. Yeah, I need to set aside time to do that. My linear algebra skills, like I can do trig, which is not really linear algebra, and I can do like vector manipulation, but when it comes to matrices, it's like I can't. I don't know what's going on there. I shouldn't say I can't. I'm sure I could if I spent the time to learn it, but I haven't yet done that, so I can't. We might as well fix this while we're doing art stuff. I don't really know what to move on to next. Let's see. I think this is done. Add weapon tag to syringe. I'm just doing some random stuff. I think I already did most of this balance stuff. Cultist does need more abilities. We can add, let's add some more abilities to the cultist here. Split Phoenix, Fire, and Exhaust so it can be alchemized. Do I still want to do that? I don't know. I'll keep that one in the back burner. Did I give my cultist more abilities yet? It has one ability. Okay. So let's take a look at the cultist. We'll think of some new abilities to add to this guy. I think that will be useful. I think the cultist is generally not used. Like, I don't think many players use the cultist because it's kind of weird the way the cultist works, because it does self-damage. Self-fire damage, which is interesting. So apply 3 fire to both enemy and self per adjacent card with heal. So this is like, first of all, you need a lot of healing cards, which there aren't a whole lot of. And then it does damage to yourself equal to the enemy fire damage that it's doing. So I think the purpose of the cultist here, it was just kind of like a card where you could get a lot of fire damage if you're doing a heal build. But the trade-off there is that you're going to negate some of your healing because you're dealing fire damage to yourself as well. So I think the idea was to make this like a very strong offensive card if you're building a very strong defense. So it's kind of like you trade a little bit of your defense for some more offense with this card. But I think because it only has one ability, it's not that useful. So we could do something else, like I'm thinking maybe we can project a tag. So like the Acolyte projects the ritual tag to adjacent cards. That might be useful for the cultist here. Like we could project some kind of tag. We could maybe do like project the minion tag to cards. I think that could be interesting. Because then you have like the Skull Wand, which works off of minion critical chance and stuff like that. So if we gave the cultist some kind of like project minion to adjacent cards, that might be really interesting. What other things do we have? I see Ninja Link in the chat. Let's see what Ninja Link has to say, but let me catch up on the chat here. Changed my major from CS, Information Technology, because I didn't want to do the hard math classes. Yeah, I was kind of the same way. I originally was doing a minor in math, and I wasn't doing so well in one of the classes for that, so I just dropped the minor. That's how you do it. I still got my bachelor's degree, so it doesn't matter. Studied linear algebra while at university. Nothing stuck then, but I'm retroactively understanding things now that I'm making my own game 10 years later. Yeah, it's kind of my problem too, is like, I took calculus classes in college, 3 of them, and I still to this day have no idea. Like I have general vague ideas of like what situations calculus can be useful in, but I never was able to apply it in any circumstance. Even in game dev, it's like, I'm sure there are like places here and there where calculus can be useful, but I've never encountered it. So like, I basically didn't retain anything from those classes. I love his videos because they focus on getting an intuitive understanding instead of a formal mathematical one. Yeah, that's nice. Wish I would have stuck to it now. CS isn't really in a great place. Yeah. With such small player health pool, you end up doing more damage to yourself compared to the enemy. Not many cards really synergize with it as well. Yeah. Projecting minion would be interesting. Lots of things synergize with minions, so the ability is more powerful than it would seem on the surface. Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. I was thinking about an artifact or card ability that shuffles tags on ally cards, like every executioner, every start of combat starts the shuffle. Oh, that would be an interesting one. Anytime you use lerp, use calculus, or use a gradient of any form. Interesting. I guess that makes sense. Okay, so let me look at my acolyte. We're just going to copy this over. Now the question is, do we want to make this adjacent or do we want to do something interesting? Maybe we could do a, let's see, above. Oh, up. It's called up. Let's do up. We're going to add the card tag minion. Yeah, let's see if that works. The only way I can talk to Ninja Link is through message on stream. You can join the Discord. I think Ninja Link's in there. Maybe not. AI is also based on calculus, by the way. Neural networks couldn't exist without gradient descent. Gotcha, yeah. I mean, I understand that there's a lot of things that are based on calculus. It's just like, as a developer, am I actually engaging with calculus in a direct, conscientious way? Or am I just using APIs that are exposed to me that have calculus, that use calculus or are theoretically calculus under the hood, right? Like, I understand a lerp, which is that you're approaching a target position over time, but the amount you're changing is shrinking over time as well, assuming that you're just like doing a constant like 10% toward the target every time. But it's like, that might technically be calculus or theoretically be calculus, but it's not me applying calculus. I'm just like, I know what a lerp does. That's how you can move stuff over time, right? So anyway. So projects the minion tag to adjacent. Oh, that's not right. This actually to this needs to be query target provider to query string. And we should probably do this as well. Yeah. I am everywhere, yes. Calculus is largely abstracted via things like move and slide. Yeah, exactly. Like, I understand that Godot's physics system or any physics simulation is going to use calculus, but the way that it's presented to the user of the engine is like very opaque, right? It's just like a black box. Here are the APIs, and then you don't need to know what's happening under the hood necessarily. I'm wondering if this allied word is necessary in here. Probably not. Do I need this? Maybe it's fine. That's all right. Did you see Cakes released Tangy TD recently and apparently did well? I don't know. I haven't heard of either of those things. I don't know who Cakes is, and I've never heard of Tangy TD. Welcome back, Nano, by the way. Hello, Clickertail. Welcome. So yeah, so the cultist should be a little bit more powerful now, and there are quite a few like rituals, not rituals, artifacts that scale. Of course, I don't have any minion cards. There's something weird happening here. So this is not working. The Skull Wand minion critical chance is not applying immediately. I have to move it a couple of times. So I need to do that. Okay. So that needs to be fixed. Cultist tag projection doesn't update immediately. Cultist tag projection with Skull Wand artifact does not immediately update crit chance. So that's going to need to be fixed as well. I was about to say the exact same thing. I mean, I assume Cakes is some kind of like game dev YouTuber or something. But makes me happy to see like game dev YouTubers who are serious about building games being successful. I think that's good. I think it's good for everybody. I think we're gonna, as this like solo game, small game kind of like trend continues, I think that we're gonna see a lot of very, very inspired games that push the genre forward, like games like Balatro, which are just like very clever remixes of existing things, but they're also kind of their own genre, you know? I think it's going to be good. So as solo development gets easier, as people can build audiences with YouTube and whatnot, we're going to see a lot more interesting games, I think, in the next few years. Just another YouTube game dev guy from Germany. He's interesting to watch. Spent 4 years making his game in C++ with no engine. Seems to be doing well, so good for him. That's awesome. People who make their own engine are actual sociopaths. Yeah, I mean, I personally have no interest in making my own engine because, like, I get worried enough about whether, like, the systems, like, that actually run my game are designed well enough. Like, oh, is the ability system okay? Or, like, is there hidden bugs here somewhere? Like, how do I make this super easy to reason about? And then for me to have that worry about every fundamental aspect of my game, like, is the game engine actually rendering things correctly? Is it going to apply the shaders correctly? Like, are the physics working correctly? That's just too much for me to worry about. I'd rather just use an engine and then worry about making my own gameplay systems work correctly. But, you know, some people are like that. Some people like to have the challenge of making everything from the ground up, and, you know, nothing wrong with that. So we added the cultist ability, so we can mark that one as done. I think anyone who has the balls to create their own engine doesn't experience these doubts. They know there are gods and their code will execute exactly how they expect it to. Maybe. I tried creating a game in Java from scratch before. It actually went really well until I started doing crazy things like changing the color of every pixel on the screen every 0.3 seconds. Yeah, it's just too much for me to worry about. Like we kind of made our own game engine in college, and we did it in C++, and it was just like, I don't want to do this. I want to use a game engine. I'd rather deal with the limitations of a game engine than have this like wide open, like green field, like you can build anything. And by the way, the only one who's going to see if your code works or not is you. It's too much for me. Says that too. Said it took him 2 years to get the engine going and says it was a big mistake to go that route and added a ton of unneeded time to development. Yeah, and I think like, you know, if you do need like custom engine features, I know a couple of people who are building a game in Godot, but they have a very special need. And so instead of starting from scratch, they're just using the source code that Godot already has. They're using the functionality that Godot already has, the editor and all that stuff. And they're just augmenting it with their own custom capabilities in C++ and rebuilding the engine. to me, like if I absolutely needed something like very specific, I would prefer to go that route first rather than build it from the ground up, you know? Like take an existing engine that's open source like Godot and say, okay, well, it has this whole litany of things that I can use, but it needs this system, which I can then explore building myself into the engine, right? But he learned a ton and pretty much evolved as a developer, though. Yeah. Like Pokemon Evolve. He's just sitting in his chair and then sprouts wings or something. I have an evolution system in my game. Very cool, very cool. I evolved when I wrote that evolution logic. Okay, that's going to be it for the stream for now. I may stream later today. So yeah, if you're interested, join the Discord. I put all of my announcements when I'm going live there. Otherwise, I'm live basically every day at 10 a.m. Eastern, including on Sundays now, by the way. So I'll probably be streaming 7 days a week from here on out at 10 a.m. Eastern, unless something changes, like I need to do something. And then I'll just do bonus afternoon streams as I'm feeling it. So yeah. Anyway, thank you all for watching. Thank you for being here. It was fun chatting with you as always. And again, you can support the game by wishlisting Alchemortis first and foremost. That would help me out a lot. There's also the Patreon if you want to support the development financially. I would very much appreciate if you considered that. But there are tons of other ways you could support, like just liking this video, following on Twitch, joining the Discord. Those things all help as well. So there's no need to spend money if you want to help me out. Just hitting the like button is good enough for sure. So anyway, thank you all for watching. Thank you for being here. And thank you for everyone who is supporting the game financially or otherwise. It's very much appreciated. And hopefully I won't need to ask you for your financial support in a few months here when the game actually releases. So, but it's appreciated for sure. I hope you all have a good day. Keep an eye on the Discord for the next live notification. And I will talk to you later. All right. Bye-bye.